Good morning, I'm Nigel Croft. Welcome to TA for Traders, and today is Wednesday the 1st of March. We're going to quickly look at the technicals on 6 commodities today. In the oils, we are still reasonably positive. There's a potential reverse head and shoulders on Brent, which would be very positive if we have a break to the upside. Gold and silver, we're expecting a consolidation. Platinum is still slightly positive, and copper looks still very good. So let's continue, and let's start with the Brent. And what I've done here is I've drawn a couple of trend lines for you. And you can see this triangulation pattern that is being created with the upper boundary at the moment at 57.11 and the lower boundary at 55.35. You'd expect this to maybe continue a bit longer, but when there's a break, expect a substantial break. At the moment, we're hopeful for a break to the upside. The Brent is holding above its 20-day moving average and above its 50-day. They've both acted as support over the last couple of weeks and should hopefully eventually give the push up through the resistance. On the longer term picture, this is the weekly, you can see the sideways move that's occurred. Again, the moving averages are a positive, if slightly being left behind. So you'd expect the consolidation to continue whilst this 20-week catches up somewhat in the 50-week. RSI slightly losing its momentum, but no concerns there because it's at 62.38, so still showing positive momentum. Likewise, MACD slightly indicative of lower momentum, but still positive. The reason I showed you Brent before WTI is that the triangular pattern that we saw on Brent isn't as clear on WTI, but overall the picture is similar. We're holding above the moving averages, above the 20 and the 50 there at 53.10, and it does still look reasonably positive. RSI still above 50, MACD slightly neutral. Before I go on to other commodities, I'll quickly show you the support resistance levels. So on crude, the key resistance at 55 and 55.21, and going on to Brent, the key resistance 57.27 and 58.35. Moving on to the metals and gold. Now here it's had a good run, but it's hit a resistance level, and this resistance level is the 200-day moving average. The RSI as well has now showed a kind of, not a key reversal, but certainly a reversal of kinds, in that we're getting a pattern of lower highs starting to emerge, which is slightly negative. I mean, this has been occurring since the middle of January, and yet obviously gold has kept going up. So you're going to be asking, well, what can't it continue? Well, these are warning signs, and all it would take would be for the trend to break. Initial support is at the 20-day at 1236.74. If that broke, I mean, the RSI would soon rattle below 50, show negative momentum, and the picture will completely change. At the moment, we're just expecting a consolidation. Let the moving averages catch up, let the RSI unwind somewhat, and then in a few weeks, in a month, we could then start to test this resistance of the 200-day again. But for the moment, a consolidation should be expected. On the longer term, looking at the weekly chart, you can see here. I mean, this now is the 200 week, which is still moving downwards. We're getting an immediate resistance from the 50-week moving average there, which I suppose tallies with the 200-day virtually, and you can see there that's causing the problem. Further on, if we were to break to the upside, there's a lot of resistance above the 1300 level, and that would hold the market. On the support resistances for gold, maybe we should look more at the supports: 12.26.25 and 12.16.75. Going on to silver, again, we are expecting resistance. Here we have pushed through the 200-day moving average, which actually isn't a negative in this case like it is in gold, because it's actually tracking upwards. So it would have been a short-term resistance, but now actually it would give support on any pullback. And as you can see here, we are getting the 20 and the 50-day crossing, which is a reasonably positive sign. Why are we expecting consolidation? Well, the RSI is just losing a bit of momentum and a slight rolling pattern on the RSI, although it's positive, it's at 69. MACD also showing a rolling pattern. You just expect it to not push forward from here. We're also in the resistance that we saw back in November. There's too many resistance, RSIs, MACD. The picture just looks like it's just going to consolidate, and just leave it for now, and let's come back in a week and let's see where we are. On the longer term picture, you can see that we've pulled again through the 200 week. The 50 week gave the support, but you can see this band of resistance that will take time to get broken, and it's immediately here, all the way from where we are now, 18.4, all the way up to 2021 virtually. On the silver support resistance levels, the resistance at 19.0058, 18.48.88, and the support at 17.96.28 and 17.84.27. Moving on to platinum, where you will see that there's still an uptrend in place. I've drawn these trend lines. They're not parallel trend lines. They're just the trend through the lows there, and then through the highs that we've seen this year. And you can see that we're in the middle of the trend, and we did actually break above that immediate resistance on Monday, which was a positive sign. We have slipped back, but overall the picture remains positive. Here the RSI is just trundling along, not indicative of upside momentum, but certainly indicative of everything's okay. It's above 50, trading at 63.86. Perhaps in its own trend there, getting towards the upper boundary. But 14 days ago there was a consolidation, so we're going to get some down figures dropping out of that. So that's going to hold up if the market holds up. So I'm reasonably positive here. On the weekly, you can see that we've had this push upwards from the 50-week moving average. Again, here the RSI is showing a bit more momentum to the upside. MACD is positive as well. Yes, there is resistance centered around the 1100 level. You'd expect the market to move up into that and try and test that resistance. And on the support resistance levels on platinum. Resistance 1 at 1044.75, 2 at 65.68, and supports at 1011.32 and 988.68. Moving on to the last commodity we're covering today, and perhaps the one that looks slightly more bullish than the rest, and that's copper, where we have, I'll just turn off the cursor, sorry, where we've come back to a nice support level. Came actually back through the supports which we were looking at last week of the 20-day. There was slight concerns, but then the 50-day held and gone back above the 20-day. You would expect this to push on through and then break the resistance levels at the 2.80 that we can see there. The RSI as well looks like it's breaking its downtrends. Is going to be indicative of upside momentum. Slight niggly negative coming through from the MACD, which is slightly bearish. But if the market continues even to consolidate here or to push ahead, as I'm hoping, that MACD will turn around very quickly and will also, like the RSI, be indicative of upside momentum. On the longer term, you can see that now we're trading around the 200-week moving average. We've got the supports of the 20 and the 50 a bit further down, but you would expect it to hold above this 200 week and then to push on. And on the longer term, the resistances really aren't seen until 2.95 up to 3. So you would hope that the market will go ahead and will test that level. On this supports and resistances on copper, immediate resistance 275.32 and 281.58, and the support at 268.73 and 260.45. So that was the commodities for Wednesday the 1st of March. Thank you very much for watching, and tune back tomorrow for TA for Traders, when we'll be looking at 5 US stocks to follow and 5 UK stocks to follow. So I look forward to seeing you then.